guess that would have been good to record, but yeah.
And
So
just so anyone knows, you're welcome to leave any questions in the chat as well. The chat can be found directly above the voice channel. Now the question is, do we want to drop the POAP now or midway through the call?
it's a midway.
Perhaps towards the end, if other people join us later on.
Cool.
And also it would be an incentive for them to stick around.
Surprise us, Q.
Yeah.
The other thing, if there's no questions, there can be observations. So if anyone has any observations, I know there's probably some Omen fans in here, or prediction market fans. Whatever interest people have, like any open topic is available.
Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about the Gnosis liquidity mining program, which is currently, I think, in voting process. I'm just gonna share the link here. I think that surprisingly, there are two teams doing the same thing, like the DXdao with the Omen Guild and the Omen token, and Gnosis DAO going the snapshot route of incentivizing specific markets on Omen,
Have to.
which is like a win-win for both teams actually.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's almost like the movie Inception, where we have different layers of liquidity mining programs running at the same time.
Was there anything to learn from like their approach? Because I know like with Omen and I guess conditional token markets in general, it's tough to, it's not as easy as the other liquidity mining programs on Uniswap or elsewhere. So did they have anything different in theirs?
I mean, what I would think right now is that it's kind of sad that there was like complete not really miscommunication, but even we have that on the DXdao. Like, if you want to propose something, you need to actually make advertisement for it inside the DXdao. And finally, it's the same thing with like Gnosis DAO is proposing something which actually has a huge impact on Omen the product, but they didn't do any advertisement for that on the DXdao front. Yeah, either you do like the pull type of advertisement, or maybe we should also like be more on the lookout of what's actually going on, right, from our side, because I think we should have approached them and actually talk with them about that we're actually doing a way better liquidity mining than they are. Like, they're just doing snapshot vote, and the Gnosis DAO is just sending I think their way is like very bad in terms of UX. So I actually reached out to the guy who did all the proposal, like the whole proposal, just to start talking about actually doing like a dual rewards program, everything on Omen.
And Geronimo, maybe it would be a good time, because a lot of people in the community here, can you talk about what that Omen liquidity mining program would look like, or what kind of makes the design that you're talking about so much better?
Yeah, so it's completely dynamic and automated. Once a market creator creates a market, they actually like immediately propose to the guild to get like liquidity mining rewards. That's completely automated. And the guild is then voting on if the market is actually worth it. So there's like a curation process already, with like deciding if a market is worth the liquidity rewards or not. And if the guild is like approving it, there's like a simple transfer of Omen tokens to like the liquidity mining contract, and everyone who put money into the Omen market as a liquidity provider is automatically earning Omen tokens. And the only way you need to do to like receive those Omen tokens is you just, once you withdraw your liquidity, you automatically withdraw your rewards. So it's like a completely automated process.
So we
And
did.
And I expect that like with Gnosis, there's like, they do the exact same thing as Claros did. So like a retroactive airdrop. So people do the work first and then hope to get those rewards distributed after the market close or something.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention is Claros had a liquidity mining program last year. Unfortunately, just as Omen was gaining traction and Claros, it was going to try their liquidity mining program, that is basically when gas prices really rocketed off and went from 50 to like 400 or something. And so activity on Omen during like the peak time of their liquidity mining program, which was supposed to like burst liquidity, which then leads to great markets which have you can trade size in and things like that, it kind of fell a little flat. And so they did pay out Claros PNK tokens to liquidity providers in 2 different stages, like in a manual process, as Geronimo said, but you didn't really get to see the effect of that liquidity mining program because it was right in line with these high gas prices, which really shut down so many things on Ethereum. So now that Omen's on DXdao, it's probably more interesting to be able to measure how liquidity mining will work and how it will affect the markets.
Yeah, so the cool thing is like after I realized, okay, the GNO liquidity mining program will probably happen, is that like we actually did the hard work for making the user experience as best as we can. So what we could do is when a user is creating a market, they will automatically create 2 mining rewards contracts, one for GNO and one for Omen token. The Omen token process, like the Omen liquidity rewards process, is completely automated. As I said, the guild will approve it or not. But like from the Gnosis side, they could just do a snapshot vote, and then once that is approved, they just send the funds, the GNO funds, to the specific liquidity mining contract for GNO. So we can help them improve the user experience dramatically, also with the GNO stuff, and then we can actually make it on the interface that people actually see the APY like merge with GNO rewards and Omen rewards, and that I expect will be actually a big number if we succeed to make a fusion, like combine those 2 rewards programs into one.
Hey, how do we incentivize users on Omen as opposed to liquidity providers rather? Because we might have a whole lot of money sitting there and no one actually participating in the markets. Can you see that happening or not?
Yeah, so my view is that if there is liquidity and the market is actually interesting, traders will enjoy it and actually bet on it. I think the APY will already create like an easy marketing approach for us to like advertise specific markets, not only for liquidity miners, liquidity providers, but also if people see there's like huge ton of liquidity for very important markets like the EIP 11559 market, I think bettors will definitely enjoy the bigger liquidity, and with that, traders will actually come. But overall, I think there needs to be a proper signal to the public, like a proper campaign, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Mango, that's a good question that like we think about a lot. And so even though like right now prediction markets are mainly for like the crypto crowd, right? Like Ethereum crypto crowd. And what's interesting is even though the crypto crowd and DeFi, heads like to gamble with crypto, right, on prices and things, which they believe in, and they probably believe in the long run it's going up, so they bias long and all that kind of stuff, and they like to take a lot of risk. That doesn't necessarily mean that these same people like to bet on like prediction markets, and we've noticed that, and some do, but many don't, right? And so maybe there's prediction markets based on DeFi and price movements, which they'd be more interested in. But in general, like there's a whole nother world of people out there that probably really like to bet. Like I have friends that bet every weekend on stuff, right? And some of that's sports and some of that's other stuff. But the question is like, how do we get more of those users who like to actually bet on these kind of things into the Omen ecosystem? And maybe those people aren't that comfortable with crypto. Maybe they, have some crypto, but I guess with Omen on DXdao and kind of the user experience becoming better, where you don't need ETH and you can just enter and use and think in dollars and things. I think the idea is to, and eventually, hopefully, like you can buy some DXdao with a debit card or whatever and have a better on ramp directly into Omen. I think the hope is that more of the people that actually like to bet on random shit will come into the Omen ecosystem. And so I don't know if it's about incentivizing users, but it's finding the more important or the better users and making the experience so that they can accomplish what they need in like an easy, cheap way. That's kind of my thoughts, because I don't know if everyone, like even everyone here on this call might not like to bet on Omen prediction markets, like random markets. So
yeah, 100%. Like we moved the Omen system from mainnet, not really moved, but we moved the focus on the product to rather like show the DXdao Omen system, and that means like mainnet Ethereum users need to bridge their funds to DXdao, which is costly. It's like $70, and that's probably a one-way street. And like I don't think they like. It depends of how much money they make on Omen. They might like withdraw it into mainnet. So that's like right now the only gate into the Omen prediction market platform, which is bad, I think. But like going forward, once we have like more developer resources and I actually delivered the guild governance dashboard, I think we should make sure that we actually build as much gates as possible to the DXdao world. So like I expect Asia is also like interested in prediction markets and actually want to bet on stuff. So having gates from Binance chain to DXdao, which is already available, we just need to integrate that into Omen, is probably like the first thing to do, and like fiat on ramps, of course.
Yeah, I think the increasing liquidity will definitely help people to take a punt, because at the moment you're sort of taking a punt on a categorical market, and then you're sort of just essentially waiting up the market because there's not really the liquidity there to sort of jump out, or the ratios aren't there. So the liquidity mining is going to be really, really great for the platform. So yeah.
I was wondering if there's a handful of new names here that may be active in Discord, but I don't think we've seen on like Jitsi calls or anything. If there's any newer community members here that would like to introduce themselves or talk about maybe what they're interested in with DXdao, or if it's a certain product, or maybe if they're a DXD holder and there's a potential buyback that's happening. There's obviously the DXD bonding curve was paused recently, so I don't know if anyone had any thoughts or comments about that.
Actually, yeah, Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Francesco, and I'm basically turned into coding last year when the startup I was working in just took a big hit, and always wanted to code and dive into more technical stuff. I followed the space since university a couple of years ago, since 2017 and whatever. And yeah, I just graduated from a full stack boot camp a month and a half ago, and I'm very interested to join probably the team of Omen. And yeah, that's it for now. Very excited for the future.
Thanks. And how did you first hear about DXdao, or how did you learn about it?
I learned about DXdao when it was still Gnosis a long time ago from Martin. I was following. I basically got into crypto when I graduated from university in 2016 with a friend when Ethereum was still cheap, and then we followed the ICO craze and all of the crazy 2017 year. Understood the Wild West and how it was all. I mean, just yeah, crazy Wild West, and few projects were valid, such as Gnosis, Augur, and yep, just followed. At the beginning, I was following very closely, but then it was taking so much time. I was working for another company, and yeah, I never had the courage myself to just take a leap of faith and learn coding and dive in deeper. And I did last year, and I'm glad I did it.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
I can try to address that. So the current model that is up and running is through the bonding curves buyback reserve. So the model is to send profits from products through the bonding curve, and that increases the buyback reserve, which like supports the sell price on the bonding curve. Recently, the bonding curve stopped, so there's no minting, no buying from the curve, but selling is still possible. And so like, yeah, this model is like filling the buyback reserve. Right now, Swapper is set up to send the protocol fee actually entirely to the buyback reserve. You can actually track that on chain. It's not a very significant volumes right now. And that's like kind of automated through this smart contract on mainnet that actually collects the fees, and then there's public functions that can be called to liquidate those fees and send the ETH. It'll liquidate any of the tokens to ETH and then send those to the bonding curve. We haven't quite figured out how to get profits from DXdao back into the bonding curve, so that's something that needs some more development. Yeah, I have some opinions. I mean, we could open that up to like whether this current model is really ideal or there's better ideas out there. I think one of the problems with the buyback reserve is there's a significant amount of capital sitting in the bonding curve, really like doing nothing for the token holders, right? Other than supporting that sell price. So like, I mean, it's a mint and burn model, but it uses this like big buyback reserve. One like potential direction would be to change that to just a buyback and burn or hold in the treasury either way, and kind of get rid of the buyback reserve. You could also talk about a dividend model and doing something like that where there's like staking for dividends like in Curve, or some other method of just distributing the dividends. Personally, I kind of like the idea of like a buyback and burn, or just store in the treasury.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
about
just
the
or go ahead, I guess so.
yeah. Sorry, can you guys hear me well? Can you?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, first I'm here. Yeah, about the DXD, the reserve that is on the DXD contract. Uh, the issue there is that the Ether is technically in control on DXD holders. So the good thing about the model is when you send profit to to the DXD cure, this Ether belongs only to the DXD holders. So any decision that we want to make over the Ether that is on their reserve, uh, I think that uh, we technically we don't have any power over there. We have a technical power to upgrade the cure and decide for in in the name of the DXdao on the organization on what is the right thing to do with the reserve, with the Ether reserve based on the DXD cure. But what we have been talking also is creating a DXD guild, so kind of to open the door for DXD holders to start being involved in the governance platform, and also start making decisions on what do they want to do on the with the Ether that is on the reserve using their tokens, their DXD tokens. So that's something that we have been exploring. We even have a smart contract written for the DXD guild, but yeah, that kind of stopped. It would be awesome if we can reactivate it in the future, because it's something super important. Like John said, it's not a huge amount of money compared to the funds that we have on the to the Ether that there is. It's available on the avatar on the DXO, but still it's money, and like Sean said, it is dormant there. It is doing nothing. So we
Yeah, and
cannot
just
do there. Like it belongs to the holders, but they don't have any tools to decide for themselves. So I guess here is our responsibility is out to enable DXD holders to be able to decide what to do with it.
Yeah, and just two related things to this, because obviously this is a large discussion on how DXD accrues value. So like something in the short term, and then like a long term thing that will affect this. So in the short term, we are moving forward with a DXD buyback program, still working on details, and there's a lot of technical work that needs to be done to get this to be done to actually be executed by the DAO itself. Can't be on the lookout for a post in the coming days that will outline that. But I feel pretty confident we'll be moving forward that program, and I think that will be a great way in the short term to accrue value to DXD. And then long term, this discussion it falls into the larger discussion of the governance 2.0 initiative, because in that initiative, DXD holders are brought in as control of the treasury themselves. And so in order to participate in governance, you have to stake your DXD in either swap or LP, or maybe in a governance contract. So that process of DXD holders participating in governance will be another opportunity to be able to accrue value to DXD holders. So I think we'll need to figure out in the governance 2.0 system how exactly is DXD accruing value. I share similar to thoughts to John, in that I think it's important for the to have like a buy, and I think the placeholder wrote a good article about this, is like the buy and build model, right? So the idea being that profits from DXDAO are used to buy DXD, and then that is like put into the treasury as a way of using that. I think that will be possible in the governance 2.0 framework, but that will take a lot of work to do there. And in the meantime, I think it's important for rep holders to commit to the DXD's claim on DXDAO's financial assets. And I think the buyback program is a good way of implementing that in the short term as we figure out a better long-term solution. POA. No, I don't know. So what do we DM the bot? Is that what we do?
I'm not sure, like just to go a little more into that, if people here may be aware of and have kind of seen what, Bankless, which is a podcast and community, is doing some interesting raffles with Bankless members that hold Bankless POAPs. This whole week, they've been giving away money and giving away rare Bankless shirts and a bunch of other prizes. And so, the Bankless community is pretty big. DXdao community is growing, but these early POAPs will likely have some good. It will be good to hold in the going forward in the future, I think. It's cool to see everyone's Discord avatars versus their like Jitsi avatars, which are boring. So it's nice to have a bunch of new faces here in the Discord. There was a chat question about Omen interface, and I think the person appreciates the minimalist feel and the user experience of Omen, and was asking about if there was a plan for a refresh of or any adjustments to the UI, maybe to make it a little deeper or easier, or if there's any changes for like a user on if there were any plans for that.
Geronimo actually just shared a Figma link. Maybe he can talk to that a little.
Yeah, so the current product was originally not planned, but kind of built out by Protofire, which had just like one signal from Gnosis to like build something which looks like Uniswap, and that's actually like worst case for a prediction market platform as complex as Omen can be. It's very like just the market observation or like the exploration is like horrible. It's a small widget which has no reason to be small. It's just so compact. Me as a designer who's like trying to be minimalistic is like that was a challenge, but it is like now it's just like actually bad because we have so much like real estate. The page is almost empty. So there's like we are restricting ourselves without any reason. So we need to like open it up. But now that we actually like included scalar markets, the guild is coming. Like we have like a very clear view of how the platform should look like and how the guild governance dashboard should look like. So now we can actually like really sit down and like completely redesign the app with like and like if I'm not sure if you guys ever checked out Omen on mobile. It's actually the worst. So we need to like again sit down for 1-2 months, really design like a complete overview of what Omen should be and what Omen is already, with mobile like as a clear focus. So each view should have like a complete design specification for mobile too, to make sure that like once and for all we kind of declare the structure and design and don't do redesign every 2 months. So that is my hope. I don't want to redesign Omen again, but I need to do it like hopefully the final time, to make sure like it's kind of bulletproof for at least 1-2 years. Yeah. But before all of that needs to happen, we need to ship the guild in order to make the Omen product better. And one small thing which is simple on centralized products, like I think the only competitor Omen has is Polymarket. For them, it's pretty simple to just like fetch a Google photo for like Biden or something and just include it to the market. But just doing that in a decentralized form, it's actually like way harder than people think. Like one idea I have is, those images are kind of important. It looks like a small thing, but it gives the exploration mode so much more, such a higher experience. So the guild is actually like doing the background maintenance of connecting specific markets with images, and those like people who are actually maintaining the product will earn Omen tokens every time they propose like an image to a specific market. So like just like the small image per market is a huge feature for the guild, in my point of view. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So we made tests for the farming. So farming is actually the big part of Swapper Beta. That's why we're releasing it as a new version, because we kind of wanna test on mainnet also, because there's too many cases to try out on testnets, but we already tried it on mainnet and everything works. We audited the code, we made UI tests and code tests and smart contract tests, and everything works great. But there's some smaller changes that we need to do in the UI that we are actually working on right now, and it looks like we kind of done with them. And so we're gonna just try out these changes and see if there's anything else that people can be stuck on in the UI. So it's a pretty big release. I would say this is one of the bigger releases we've done. We will see Swapper Beta out really soon. I would say, I don't want to say date. I hate saying soon also, but I would say 2 weeks ish. That's my answer. Ooh, I don't have them top of my head, but the biggest feature is obviously farming. And when I say farming, I do mean the regular farming that we usually see, where you have pools, you can stake and you earn farming, but you also have something totally unique that we created, that you can create your own farming pool in the UI. So that's pretty cool actually, and releasing it in phases. So there's more features inside of these stuff that we haven't released, like multiple rewards, stuff like that. We already developed them, but we need to test them some more, because there might be some more stuff that we need to test. But so for Swapper Beta V1, we're releasing single reward, do-it-yourself farming, and the regular farming. And we have stuff in the pipeline that will update both the UI and add some more features to, like Swapper Beta V2, right? So instead of waiting until we finish with everything, we're just releasing it in phases. and hopefully we'll have some partners that will do farming campaigns on Swapper Beta, so we can try it out. And obviously, DXdao will try to push. We'll try to push for our own campaigns, farming campaigns.
Yeah, the cool thing for me about DXDAO's product suite and ecosystem is that, especially with new guilds and tokens and things coming, is DXdao can really leverage everything that it's got itself, and that can be from conditional farming, which uses Omen and Swapper, to other ideas as well. So it's you compare DXdao and its multi suite of products versus other projects that just have most have just one specific product that they're working on. They can work with other projects, but DXdao has the ability to dog food and use all of its products intermixing ideas and connecting things, which is super cool to me.
It's super cool, but it's good and bad actually, because obviously we need more manpower on some stuff. But we're doing pretty big stuff. I would say on Swapper, we're doing some big stuff for our team. We're actually focusing a lot on L2s. We want to do, we're going to build a bridge into Swapper where you can bridge in between mainnet, XDAI, mainnet, Arbitrum, and actually have the choices of actually choosing in between bridges. So some bridges actually take more time, whilst other is faster, and then you pay for a fee to get your funds faster or slower. So I would say that's pretty cool. That's one thing we're actually doing right now. And another thing, like the network switcher, we're still working on that, but it's super crucial that everything works inside of the DApp, instead of letting people actually go somewhere else to bridge their tokens, and then we want everything to work inside of Swapper, right? So if someone want to do a swap on XDAI, they can bridge, swap, farm, and vote directly on Swapper. It's a huge thing.
Is Martin here? Martin, if you are here, you're on mute.
Hi, yeah, I'm here, but I'm struggling with tech. So the question has been how we are what's going on in Mesa. Finally, I think. Do you hear me now? Yeah, in a way, yeah. I have to say we have like some team problems because we had like a dropout. We had one guy who did not work properly, and then somebody else is leaving the team. Adam is leaving the team. He's still with us, the DXdao, but in May he has another job, and he's still working on with us right now. But the thing to bring, we have worked like in parallel on different code bases, and one has been the smart contract, who Nico wrote on, and Nico, we are there in a almost audit ready. Me and Nico have like sessions where we look at the code, and I ask him questions about the smart contract code and how just to clean up stuff. And recently, yesterday, he even released, not released, but he deployed on XDAI. I think it's just a test deploy on XDAI. And then we're working on a documentation right now. So Nathan, who is new in the DXdao helps us to write documentation, and we write documentation with different, like, we try to write it for like 3 different kind of people, or 4. One is like the end user, the people who will use the interface, the end user interface. Then we will write like a version for the people who do, who make a sale in audio projects. Then we have a section about developers, for developers, because we have like an open system where people can add their own sale mechanism. And then we have like the fourth market, in a way. I guess it's like the business to business market, because we have like maybe some plans to not use the Mesa only for the community, but maybe it's also usable as a tool for other communities which make like investor communities which make sometimes selling off token or pre-investment. So we have like plan to have like 4-section documentation. And then we've got the subgraph who is now working and in a good shape, also on the technical side, because we have a version who is running locally, and there we can make changes. And then we work on the front end. And now looks like we have some pain to glue these different layers together, and it takes us longer than we expected. And we are looking for new devs to join us in a way, because there's some work to do still. And yeah, that's the place, the moment where we are. And any question?
Cool. Yeah.
We are still thinking about, and this maybe is a good call for asking not people only inside DXdao, but maybe outside DXdao. What we are thinking about is if we should change the name, because I did like a presentation about what the DXdao is some time back, and then I did see that also historically very close to Gnosis, and I recognized that in a way. I guess if we stick with the name, then we will forever be, mentally we will be connected to Gnosis somehow, because most people think Mesa, even if as the brand has been owned by DXdao, most people think it's like a Gnosis product, and I think this itself maybe is a good reason to change the name. Yeah, so if somebody outside the DXdao has any opinion on this, or yeah, so the technically, and also how it looks like and how it works, how the internals work of Mesa, it has nothing to do with the old Mesa, because Mesa was the name for the front end of the Gnosis 1 protocol. This is a protocol Gnosis developed, and this was like a special decentralized exchange with batch trades. So, and I don't know, maybe Mesa, I think the old Mesa, Mesa's DEX is now maybe 1 year old, but somehow it didn't work out as a decentralized exchange. It much more worked out that people have been selling the token the first time. So it found like product market fit into the IDO space. And the IDO, it's what is the initial distributed token offering, or sometimes it's called initial decentralized offering. So this is the product market fit which Mesa did find. And somehow we then discussed also together with Gnosis how we should move forward, but we didn't find common ground. And so we stick somehow with the name Mesa, but because it's a new product and it has in a way nothing to do with how the old Mesa works, and it only takes over the product market fit. So yeah, we just stick with the name, but somehow, yeah, there's like some feedback about this name has been that people had like experience with the old Mesa, and because it was quite complicated to use, the association to the thing, if people think about Mesa and the old Mesa, then some people had like bad experience with it. So this would be another reason to change the name. But it's just that if we do change the name, then we have to change it now before we go to the open. And so, yeah, if anybody has like any opinion on this, I don't think. Yeah, I think the DXdao is like in a way we don't are that much attached to the name. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on this, but I think something that's generally, let's say, DXdao is weak on is the whole marketing aspect, and yeah, the fact that Mesa is kind of out there, the name is known, and people have been using it, or like MStable has used it. I think this is really good, generally for like if we're launching Mesa V2, and yeah, I don't know if like the fact that this is somehow linked to Gnosis is a bad thing. Just in general, the marketing, because yeah, like this is like an auction, or like a sale model, and you want something that's kind of like secure and has some what do you call it?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just my opinion. It's not that strong, but I think like I'm in favor of keeping Mesa and like making something big out of like Mesa V2.
Yeah, I'm just one reason I was not that interested in renaming is mainly because then we have to make a process how we rename it, and yeah, this is like another task to do, and yeah, maybe we have to discuss this another event. I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's okay to keep the name. Gnosis already shows another name, right? And
yes,
and some people knows already what Mesa is because of the old Mesa, right? So I would say it makes sense to keep
okay.
it.
Yeah. I think it's mostly about how we. It's in a way it's like it's back to who we are. Are we like an independent organization who has nothing to do with Gnosis, but we still have some ties to Gnosis as we see with Omen. But in a way, it's also strange because they do now the same thing we do, but we didn't like have a lot of communication about this, and so yeah, it would be interesting how outsiders read this, and yeah.
Yeah.
I have to do it. 5 minutes. Oh. Okay, there are only 4 minutes to go. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
does any Snufkin wants to know, when is SpaceX landing on the moon? I think they're going straight to Mars, but
which one? I didn't understand. What's the question?
when moon?
When moon?
3 billion from the US government.
Then which token? This is the question back.
Which token? So
I
that's
think we
another
are like
interesting
really
thing.
we are an organization who is focused on long-term value, and I think this is a good thing to do. Yeah, because Moon, it's just this is for the players in a way, and my experience is that I'm mostly sold like too early my stuff, so I think it's worth to stay with DXdao because at the end, but the work we do, it's just it's a lot of work, and all of us are very focused on shipping product, and I think this is what counts. And sometimes narratives are like strange in crypto, because I think it's also very strange that we have like a huge treasury, but the DXC token is very much lower, and I think it will correct. This is just what I see.
Well, we'll see, and we'll see how DXD token starts to interact with the individual product tokens that come into existence,
Yes,
and see that growing over time as well. Like eventually, you could potentially buy a DXD token, which gives you very good exposure to 25 different products and product specific tokens that all feed into DXD token ecosystem. That doesn't exist. There's no other projects really that are trying this type of approach, and so we'll see how it all comes together. But I think this was a pretty good first community call. Thanks to everyone for coming and claiming your POAPs and participating. Good to see a lot of faces here that are not regularly here, but would be great to have you come back more regularly to any of the Jitsi calls, as well as any of these Discord meetups we'll have, and we'll hopefully have at least one every 2 weeks, but we can have other AMAs and more community discussion as well. So thanks everyone for coming, and have a great rest of the week and weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, everyone.
We can claim now.
Cheers.
Why is it 1 minute left? Shit. Bye.
Good luck, Martin.
Wow. Wow. I was working forward, I'm not going to make it.
You already missed it. It stopped.
Yeah. Yes, please. That would be nice, because this is strange. People should listen to the call and not claim tokens. But no, it's okay.
It's why half the people are here.
Because hey, that guy I had like